I like this marina pier in the Florida Keys. It's a good spot to give you guys the 49ers updates while I'm out here. And you might be interested in this next one. Diana Rossini, who works for us at The Athletic, has reported that the Chargers are open to hear trade offers for their two-star edge rushers, Joey Bosa, Nick's brother, and Khalil Mack, who's coming off a 17-sack season. Actually, Mack, at age 32, just delivered his most statistically productive season ever. So ears should definitely perk up, especially for the 49ers, who I think are definitely in the market for a premier edge rusher to pair with Nick Bosa. So are the 49ers a possibility here? I think yes. I think that the Chargers might have to release Mack or Bosa because teams will know that they have a deadline. They're over $20 million over the salary cap, and the Chargers have to clear that space by the start of the new league year on Wednesday. On top of that, both Mack and Joey Bosa have guaranteed roster bonuses that trigger on March 16th, which is next Saturday. So there's deadline pressure here, theoretically, for them to move off of these players and either take a lower trade offer or cut them outright. And if you cut them outright, then a new team would be able to negotiate a contract that works for them. The 49ers, meanwhile, they're right up against the top 51 cap. Only the top 51 contracts count against the cap in offseason. You've got to be under the limit by Wednesday. But the 49ers haven't executed any restructures yet. And as you've seen in my roster builder, hopefully you've had a chance to go ahead and tinker with that. As you've seen, the restructures are possible. The 49ers can dip into that well to open up some more space. And I think they're serious about making their team better. One question about Bosa and Mack is, would these guys just be one-year rentals for the 49ers? If you acquire them on their existing deals, which I think have 2 years left on both of those contracts, then yes, you could theoretically consider those guys to be one-year rentals. But if you're looking for a more long-term solution at that edge rushing position to pair with Nick Bosa, maybe you're going to want to go younger. And we have Jonathan Greenard, right, the Texans edge rusher, and Bryce Huff, who's been with the Jets. Both of those guys will be available in unrestricted free agency, and they're younger. I think there's a chance that the 49ers might want to look to a younger option, but that also might be prohibitively expensive for them. So maybe you go with the 1 or 2 year rental option with somebody like Joey Bosa or Khalil Mack. Mack is 32, Bosa's 28, and then look to the draft to try to find that longer term solution at edge rusher. Either way, I do think that the 49ers are in a position where they're going to want to make a splash in free agency and through the draft. They're going to want to find a way to improve their football team because they're in an arms race right now, namely with the Kansas City Chiefs, but you can't forget the Detroit Lions because they almost beat the 49ers in the NFC Championship game. But if you go back and look at history and you look at the Dallas Cowboys who tormented the 49ers in the 90s, San Francisco had to make a couple splashes to overcome Dallas in that 1994 season. Deion Sanders, Ken Norton Jr. I look at this in a very similar way as the jet ski just whizzes by here. I look at this in a way that the 49ers have to be aggressive this offseason, and they have the contractual situation set up to keep their core, but they also want to fortify their core. And yes, they can also invest in their offensive line. I've talked about it a ton here from the Florida area. Robert Hunt, right up the water here in Miami. The Dolphins offensive lineman could be somebody that's really good at right guard. But hey, Joey Bosa, he's from Fort Lauderdale. He's from Florida. He's Nick's brother. He could be somebody that the 49ers pursue. And Khalil Mack, don't rule it out either, given the news that we just heard coming out of The Athletic, coming from Diana Rossini. The Chargers, with Jim Harbaugh trying to get under that salary cap, maybe trying a little bit of a rebuild, it might make a couple of these guys available. And some deadline pressure typically spurs moves in these scenarios. So whatever bonuses are due, that roster bonus I talked about for Mack and Bosa due on March 16th, whenever you've got to get under the cap, whenever you want to find a way to pick up some draft capital ahead of the draft, which is at the end of April, that's stuff that can spur you on to make a move, to trade away a player. It's funny to me. I know that when you look at Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh hired as the head coach of the Chargers. He's got Justin Herbert. He probably does have a chance to build a winner fairly soon, right? If he does keep some of these players. But I think that sustainability is also a big thing that the Chargers want to establish. And they see players like Bosa and Khalil Mack, and they see older ages, and they see an opportunity to pick up some draft capital, and they see an opportunity too to get under the salary cap as they need. They're balancing a bunch of different things, and maybe the 49ers can be the team that's in position to benefit from the fact that the Chargers might need to sell off some of these players. Would certainly look good for the 49ers to have that bookending edge cadre of Nick Bosa and Joey Bosa. That's been the one weakness for this 49ers team. They partially addressed it on defense, at least. They partially addressed it with the signing of, or the trade for Chase Young last year, but I don't think he's a premier guy anymore coming off of that serious ACL in the 2021 season. So it's definitely something to watch. And another obvious weakness for the 49ers has been that third cornerback spot, which they might try to address in this free agency as well. So Joey and Nick Bosa, it's possible. Some financial machinations would have to happen for it to work, but I'm here to tell you, yes, it is possible. Keep your eyes peeled. Last year, free agency was a whole lot of fun for the 49ers. They picked up Javon Hargrave, and this year, who knows? With a team that's as desperate to get over the hump as San Francisco, maybe some fireworks will indeed happen. So long for the Florida Keys. We'll talk to everybody very soon.